Hey everyone out there in YouTube land. Today I want to bug you momentarily about taxes. The tax system makes no sense. It's outdated. It's old as sin. Something I watched recently about the way taxes are stored or records are stored kind of explains why there's a 3-year limit on things, because they store it on old magnetic reel tapes, like you'd have to look that up. 60s technology, basically. Well, and then since I think 2010, the budget has been cut by $4 billion, something like that. Like it was 14 and now it's just below 9 for the IRS. For that's the organization that makes you do all this paperwork. Now, doing taxes, if you've never done them and you work, you're screwing up, because they can literally ruin your life. Quick adjustment, as you'll know I do, because I'm not happy with my first adjustment. My hair's not perfect, but what's perfect? Okay. Do your taxes. If you have any income, even if you don't have income, for whatever reason, you're supposed to do taxes. Like, there's not such a thing as someone that doesn't have income. Now, of course, someone under the age of 18 or legal working age, under the legal working age wherever you live, you're not going to have income. So your taxes are still filed by your parents or guardians or whoever gets to claim you as a dependent on their taxes. After that, after the point where no one claims you as a dependent, you should file your own taxes. If you're on Social Security income, disability, welfare, anything like that, the way I understand it, and I've only been doing taxes, my own taxes, for 22 years, and I spent a short period of time working for a firm, a CPA, that actually, and I prepared taxes professionally. That was a long time ago. Either way, just to be safe, do your taxes. But here's where it gets completely, I don't want to say ignorant, because ignorant impresses like a lack of knowledge. It gets stupid. Adjusting my controls. You have multiple ways to file your taxes. 1040Z, 1040A, 1040, 1040 long. Then you need 1099s and 1098s that you attach to those if you have retirement or stock incomes. Or retirement savings or stock incomes. And then there's interest. Money you paid toward interest on your mortgage. And there's just all kinds of different little loopholes. And I freely and blatantly call them loopholes, because that's what they are. If you make too much money, then you're going to pay less in taxes. How in the fuck does that make sense? Now, I understand, well, if they're millionaires or billionaires, they can just move their money out of the country. They do that anyway, with the loopholes. Putting everything else aside, they could simplify the tax law greatly. Someone like me and someone just like you can think of this. It is not complicated. Instead of, here's the thing. All right, here's the idea. I posted this on Facebook the other day. Here's the simple idea. I'm going to put it out there. Instead of me having to get paperwork from my employer or employers, if you have multiple, and from any other sources of income, That can be anything. Not taxes. Although you have your state tax refund is also something you have to report on your federal taxes. Like stocks, if you sell stocks, if you earned interest on stocks, if your stocks increased in price, if your retirement savings is under or over, blah blah blah. There's thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of different little things you have to file your taxes. Now, this isn't true for everyone, admittedly, because some people don't have stock options, some people don't have retirement, some people don't own their own home, some people have no tax credit, some people don't have children, so they don't have an EIC form to worry about. The point is, the system gets screwed. Some people cheat on their taxes, some people lie, some people don't file, and so it doesn't work. The part that does work is your FDIC that comes out of your check, your federal that comes out of your check, your state and, if applicable, county taxes that come out of your paycheck. Now, contractors and other other groups don't have those things withheld. They're supposed to pay them themselves. Now, here's the simple solution. Get rid of all the bullshit. All of it. Drop it. Don't worry about income made from stocks and things, because how do you buy a stock? How do you buy a house? Exactly. You buy it with your income. Now, that income might also be from stocks or selling a house. Start over. Completely scrap the system. You can almost completely cut the budget. It'd be less than $1 billion a year. You would need mostly computerized software, a few people to make sure, to check anything the software flags. Hey, this person is reported to be employed but did not pay us any taxes, and then bam, that's who you audit, instead of this random crap you have now. So, basically, you send out one graph, one chart, one Excel spreadsheet, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And instead of, if you make between this and this, you pay this, and then you get this much money back, and it's not even get back. In case you don't know this, like, there are people that do not pay taxes. Like, they'll have FDIC and all that crap held from their check, of course. But at the end of the tax year, when they file their taxes, because they have 2, 3, 4, 5 kids, 3, I think, this year, I think it was like 3 was the max that you would actually benefit from having. So 6, the difference between 6 and 3 kids was nothing. The Duggars are fucked. Like, if you have under a certain income and 3 kids, at the end of the year you file your taxes, you have paid virtually nothing in taxes, but you get back $5,000. You didn't give them $5,000, like including the FDIC and the state. You didn't pay out $5,000, but the federal government gives you $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. I've known people that's gotten upwards of $7,000 filing their taxes. It's called EIC, Earned Income Credit. Now, everyone's going to hate me for this. It's like, oh, but shut up, that's my money. The thing is, that's not your money. That's money that started, the Depression, I do believe, to stimulate the economy. Admittedly, that money is typically blown or spent, not saved. So it does stimulate the economy. But it doesn't work that way anymore. The money that goes to doesn't really, it doesn't generate taxes. It doesn't generate a lot of revenue. It's not made back. It's why we're tanking. That's why, we have a deficit. I mean, that's not the only reason, but you want to worry about the war in Iraq and military spending. Well, this is another pointless expenditure. All right, so instead of that, and then if you make over this much, you only pay this much in taxes because you get tax breaks because of blah, 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 blah. You'd have to look all this up. If you're interested in each field, look it up. So instead of each tax bracket having its own like little range, and then, well, if you do this, you get this break. If you do that, you get this break. And if you do this, then you have to pay more. And if you do that, well, here's a punishment. And if you miss it, instead of all this crap, tax everyone like 10%. And I know this has probably been said to death before, but it's like, at least make it to where there's a chart, an Excel spreadsheet, to where it will tell you, if you make this much money in a month, in a week, in a quarter, whatever, you need to have had paid this much in taxes. That way, I don't have to do paperwork by April 15th. You don't either. All you have to do is make sure that you have that dollar amount paid into taxes. And if not, you adjust your withholdings. And then at the end of the year, you're square. They don't owe you a dime. You don't have to talk to them, because it's going to show from your already existing paperwork that is in place, it's already there. The employers are responsible for withholding it unless you're privately employed, own your own company or a contract or something like that. Then you have to, do it anyway, because you're responsible to do it. Whereas when you work for a company, the company's responsible for doing it for this guy. You have your own company, you're responsible yourself. So, it doesn't have to be a flat tax, like 10% across the board. But, just a simpler type of equation. Because I've never been able to get an answer about how much I should withhold from each check, so I don't have to worry about paying $1,000 at the end of the year. Or having to go through the hassle of loaning the government money for a year, not getting interest on it, and then having to go through a bunch of bullshit paperwork to get that money back that I overpaid. That's the frustration of it. If they gave you whatever the interest rate was, you overpaid. And now you could argue, well, you didn't really overpay until December. No. From my point of view, I overpaid in January. So you owe me a year's worth of interest. Not a month from December. Or even if it was December, it was still another year ago. In a different year, you owe me a year's of interest. I loaned you too much money throughout the year. But that's not how it works. We have an overly complicated system. So yeah, it would be a lot nicer to be able to simply not communicate with the IRS. The IRS isn't needed. There are, like I've explained, there are systems in place that already do everything the IRS does. Just get rid of the convoluted bullshit. We don't need tax breaks because we own 4 yachts and they all have 6 employees each. We don't need tax breaks because our company imports from Spain instead of Portugal. We don't need those tax breaks. Just get all the bull crap out of the way. That way, when an IRS employee does have to look at someone's taxes, they don't have to reread over thousands of laws that all have changed because of bureaucracy and other bullshit that helps somebody somewhere else because they're a friend, or this would make sense because it's an economic boost. No. Make it simple. That way any layman can understand the taxes. Remove the need to have CPAs for the purposes of doing your taxes. There should not be an entire set of laws that lawyers specialize in for something as simple as taxes. I mean, we want to move into the future, right? One way to do it is to simplify the stuff we have to do. We have to do taxes. That's what upsets me about it, is that we have to do them. Why are we doing it in such a complicated way? That's it. That's really the idea of it. If you have any ideas, feel free to drop them in the comments below, because I'm going to read over them. I read my comments. And I mean, if a good one pops in there, I'm going to talk about it on here. So yeah, that's all, folks. If you've been with me this long, don't forget to subscribe and like. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.